It can't be subtle. Sometimes it has to be intentional.
Right.
You got to make it a point for that person to know that, no, I pick you no matter what's going on,
Right.
no matter what it seems like, it feels like, no matter what you're going through, and I can't fix, but I still pick you. And that's got to be intentional.
Hey, y'all. Welcome back. Thank you for joining us for Lifelong Love Lessons. My name is Erica Sorrell.
And I am Vernon Sorrell Jr. Tonight's topic is love is a choice.
Choosing each other.
So the last time we met with you all, or the last time the last episode, we talked about foundation for forever. And one of the things that a lot of people commented on was you gotta like each other.
Liking each other.
We got a lot of feedback on that. I think that really helped a lot of people. And some people were even laughing about having to like each other, but we believe this is very key. Hopefully you guys got something out of it, but we didn't want it to seem like it was very simple. So just letting you all know that liking each other is not easy.
At all.
It's not easy to do that on a daily basis.
Correct.
So tonight today we're going to talk about love is a choice, choosing each other.
This is that part of I take you in your vows when the preacher or whoever did your wedding said, do you take this person? So you repeated your name. I, Erica, take you, Vernice, to be my lawfully wedded husband, this, that, and the third. So we're talking about how it's not just a feeling. Love isn't just a feeling, but it's an actual choice that you have to make on a daily basis.
Right. And again, the I take you part of the vows. So we're talking about why did you pick that person? So I got a question. I got a question for you.
Oh Lord, here we go.
Why did you pick me like 31 years ago? Well, that's when we started dating.
32.
We started dating. But then when I proposed to you, and when I picked you, the Bible says when a man finds a wife, he finds a good thing. So when I picked you, why did you pick me then? And why do you still pick me 28 years later? That's a good question right there.
So, good question. Now, I'm gonna be super honest.
Be honest that they want the truth for real. We transparent.
Well, for one, you looked good.
Oh.
And then you spoke well. And then you graduated. And you were employable.
Oh, wow.
And he didn't just have a regular job, y'all. He was actually in his career. So those were really, really simple. I say simple. Those were easy reasons for me to say yes. One, he loved me, and he showed me that he loved me. And two, like I said, he looked good, because you got to think about what your kids are going to look like in the future. And then he was already working towards his career goals. So it was really, and again, like I said, he looked good. So there it is.
Well, okay. So she didn't ask, but I'm going to tell y'all why I picked her. And just to tell you guys, before we got married, we did marriage counseling with my father. Right. My father and my mother, they were pastors of our church at the time. And we went through sessions with them, and my father had us to write down reasons why we wanted to get married. So this is what we're talking about. And
it couldn't just be reasons why we wanted to get married. It had to be reasons why we wanted to marry one another.
Right.
Like
right,
why
right.
I wanted to marry you, why you specifically wanted to marry me.
Yeah, that's key. That's key right there. So we're talking about a choice. Why did I pick her? Why did I make the choice to marry her? So I know for sure one of my reasons was, I know for sure now, we talking 28, 29 years ago that we wrote these things down, and we tell people to keep them, but we may not be able to find ours. But anyway, I do remember specifically one of my reasons was because she wanted to work. And I know you may think about, what kind of reason is that? Well, you got to think about the future with this person, right? Because when we make the vows that says till death do us part.
Right.
So you have to have reasons why you're going to pick this person. I know that was one of them. I know she was a go-getter. And then another thing that that I really picked her for, and we're gonna get into this later, because sometimes when you pick stuff about people, sometimes the thing that you love the most can be the thing
Make you mad.
that just really just bothers you the most. But I picked her because she was outspoken. I wasn't very outspoken. Very shy person, but she was outspoken, and I really did admire that about her. I love that about her. And a lot of times now, even to this day, her being outspoken and willing to say the truth, willing to speak up and say what the truth is, regardless of what the outcome might be. I really have admired that about her over the years. She's not afraid to do it, and that's something that I like.
You're welcome.
Okay, okay. Well, you welcome too. So now we got those things out the way about what looking back over our lives, choosing me, what has that looked like?
So we did what was it, the Pair of Panthers, a couple of years ago when Prairie View came and talked to us about why were we, our relationship, our marriage, what caused us we met on the hill at Prairie View. And one thing I said then was that my life I think it would be totally different had it not been for you. And the reason I say that is because, and I joked about it at the beginning of this session, but I joked about it and saying that, you were already in your career and stuff like that. But because you were also a go-getter, because you were also like intentional at what you were doing in life and what you wanted your family to look like. And that was something that aligned with me. And that was something that I wanted my family to look like. And honestly, we have been blessed ever since. And we've had some tough days, but we still thank God for his keeping power. I thank God for keeping you, which kept us with each other.
Yeah,
if that makes sense.
And that's an important thing is that when I picked you, one of the top reasons was because you were God fearing. And growing up as a PK, all the PKs out there, shout out. But growing up as a PK, our lives evolved around church, and we were always at church doing something, whether it was a musical, whether it was a revival, Kevin Hall revivals from 6 in the evening to about 2 o'clock in the morning. We spent so much time at church growing up, and it was very important to me that I had someone who valued a relationship with God. And when I realized that your grandfather was a deacon and that you were a member of both your grandfathers and you was a member of a church, and you stated that was one of the top reasons why I wanted to be with you. And still today, they're still lasting today. From then to now, our lives still evolve around our relationship with God.
Right.
And I think that is very important when making that choice. So here it is. When you make the choice to get married, which is what we did.
Yep.
A long time ago. When you make the choice to get married, you are making the choice to be with each other. You're choosing each other, and this is till death do us part. So this is a lifelong journey of picking each other on a daily basis. Lifelong is every day, day in, day out. You have to make that choice. So, just thinking about Foundation for Forever and liking each other and making a choice. This is not for people who want to easily give up. That marriage is not that. So, it's about making choices. It's about
making them on a daily.
Yeah.
Like he said, you have to daily choose each other every single day.
So, here's some real. Some life things that we've been through where we had to decide that I pick you and you pick me, regardless of the circumstances that we faced or what might have happened.
So I specifically remember after having 2 kids, and those of you guys that know us, the first 2 kids we had were 12 months apart, born in the same month, July 98, July 99. And then we got pregnant in 2000, and here comes the last kiddo, and he was born March 2001. and was experiencing something I had never experienced before. I didn't know what was going on. I'm like, why do I feel this way? This didn't happen with the first kid. This didn't happen with the second kid. What is going on? And I figured it out. I was actually struggling and suffering from postpartum depression. But I didn't know, like I said, I didn't really know what was going on because I had never experienced it before. And I mean, it was to the point where I sat down and wrote down how much, I was going to get each month with child support. Because, and now mind you, my poor husband had done nothing to me. He didn't even know what was going on. He had no idea this was going on in my mind. This was me being inside my head. And I sat down and I was like, all right, here's what I'm going to need on a monthly basis to get through, to make sure, the kids and I still are going to be okay, what have you, this, that, and the third. And one day I just decided, you know what? This is me. He's done nothing to me. Let me figure this out. Let me figure, you know what? I said until death do me part from my husband. I'm gonna get the me part. And honestly, like I told y'all in the first episode, I'm an only child. So it was all about me, and how I was going to get things done. But I had to figure it out. No, this ain't just about me. This is about us. And I have to choose him every day. And again, he had done nothing to me, so I need to figure this out. I've sat down and was like, all right, God, I'm going to need some help on this one. I'm going to need you to help me get through this one because this ain't making sense to me at all. And when I sat down and figured it out, I was like, all right, here we go. We're going to go on vacation. We are going to go on a vacation. And this was the first vacation we ever went on as a whole family with all 3 kids. And I decided, let's make it a small one. We didn't have to get on an airplane because at the time Sterling was like 3, maybe 4 months old. And I didn't want to get on the airplane with a brand new baby. And so I was like, all right, we can drive to San Antonio. We're going to stick the kids in the back of the truck and we're going to get to San Antonio. Went and found us a great hotel. We loved it. We went to the water park, what was it, SeaWorld, and then water park of SeaWorld. Kids had a blast. I made it up in my mind. I am going to recommit myself in my marriage. Again, my husband had no idea I was going through this, but I recommitted myself in my marriage. I made the choice that I was going to take my husband again in my mind, and we were going to get through what I was going through or what I had sent myself through by myself. And when I made it up in my mind to choose him every day from that point on, it just got better for me. Like I said, he had no idea what was going on in my mind, but it got better for me. And I got over the postpartum depression. And then I started enjoying my husband even more at that point. That's when he got to the point where he was like, let's go to the park. Let's go do this. I'm like, okay, it's going to take me a couple hours to get ready to go to the park. And that's a story for a whole other day. But I made it up in my mind that I was going to choose my husband every day from that day forward again.
And that was mainly from a perspective of being that you were going through postpartum depression. One of the pieces of it was that you wanted to leave me.
Right.
So I want to make sure that everybody understand that. Now,
Right.
Just dealing with postpartum depression, it has other things that you were going through.
Right.
But one of the parts about our marriage was that she was thinking about leaving. You were thinking about leaving.
I was.
And when you decided that you made the vow to pick me, then that helped us out.
Right.
And then you were able to grow from that point and heal from that point. And also with prayer and asking God for help is how you made it through that.
And then I also think, and it was kind of a revelation type thing, I also think that at that point, MS had started with me and I didn't know it at that point. I did not know it. I started feeling the symptoms of MS back in 1999, but I didn't know it. I did not get diagnosed until 2004. But I do believe that also played a part as well. Mm-hmm. So it was kind of because even with MS now, it still takes a toll on your mind. It still takes a toll on my memory. It still takes a toll on sometimes I feel like I want to be depressed and I'm like, I don't have a reason to be depressed. I know what I'm going through. It hurts on a daily basis. Actually, it hurts on a minutely basis, if that's a word. But I made the choice in my mind, whatever was going on, I was going to make the choice to stay with my husband. And again, this was something that was going on in me. He had no idea. I had written down how I was going to leave him, but looking back on all of it, I do believe MS had a part to play with it also.
You know, in talking about MS with my wife, we didn't know what it was in the beginning until she was diagnosed with it. And not too long ago, my wife said something which was, she told me that she was happy, and she was in tears when she said that. She remember you told me, "I'm happy that you didn't leave me."
Right.
And I'm thinking, why are you telling me you happy that I didn't leave you? And I'm like, I'm just really thrilled by this. Why would you just say that? Hey, I'm happy. I'm very happy to be here. I'm happy to be here. You ain't that bad. Well, I just don't want to be here. But when you said that, it really floored me, because your response was, you could have left me. And I'm thinking, why would I do such a thing?
Well, and the
Well,
reason...
hold on. And you did remind me that in some people's relationships, when sickness comes in and challenges come in, people easily bail out on each other.
Exactly.
And I'm just thinking that, well, that's what, I'm a husband. That's what I'm supposed to do. I'm supposed to stay with my wife. But apparently, in some relationships, people cannot make the choice to be there when life starts lifing.
Right.
And this is one of the things that, this part of being real, this the real deal is that when you make those vows till death do us part, in sickness and in health, for rich or for poor. I don't know if y'all read those vows like we did. Sometimes with newer couples now,
People
we tell them,
want to write their own stuff.
we're going to read the old vows because that's what worked for years. So
Right.
we're going to read those. Now, if you want to read your own stuff, you can read that as well. But we're going to read these old vows in sickness and in health,
Yeah.
for rich or poor, till death do us part.
Right.
Now you can say what you was about to say. I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. When he said that I was in tears and thanked him for not leaving, when Bernie said that, what I thought about was the fact that I had read, like, you guys influenced me to become a member of some MS
Society.
groups
Yeah.
or what have you. And some of the things I was reading was that some spouses cut out on their other spouse because they couldn't handle the sickness part. And they couldn't handle taking care of their spouse. They couldn't handle taking care of the other. And I'm thinking, yeah, we made the vows to each other, but at the same time, you actually still chose to stay when other people have cut out on their spouses. And so I felt really bad because I was reading that, and I'm like really in tears for these people, because I'm like, who goes through that? Like, who does that? Why would you do? And the one thing I thought about was my grandparents, for one, Nanny and Big Daddy, my dad's parents, because when Big Daddy got sick and Nanny was going to the hospital, she was seeing him, she was with him. I think he was sick before we actually found out he was sick.
He was.
But she still stuck by him. She still took care of him. When he did come home before he transitioned, when he did come home at one point, she was going in there and feeding him and taking care of him and bathing him and stuff like that. And then also made me think about your parents and how your mom took care of your dad, how you took care of your dad, how sometimes even I would leave work and I would be the only one on that side of town, so I'd pick him up from dialysis and stuff. And so I recognized that you didn't cut out because that's how you were raised. I wasn't going to cut out if something had happened and roles were reversed, because that's what I saw. That's how I was raised. And so we chose each other for such a time as this, no matter what happened. And so I was glad, because you stuck by what you saw and how you were raised. And then I was the recipient of the blessing in how you were raised.
Yeah,
So.
well, it's not easy it's not easy, and being that you go through this, it's not easy on my end. Just being and just thinking about other couples that are out there,
Right.
it's a choice, and it's a hard choice. It's a hard choice that you have to make, because sometimes it does not look good, and I just know that as a spouse of a person that's facing a an illness like this, is very tough. It's very tough. It's not for weak people at all. It's very tough. And back when we were 20, in our 20s, we didn't know all of this would happen. We didn't know this. We didn't know that MS would happen. We didn't know that these things would happen. All we knew is that we get married, and we're going to enjoy ourselves, we're going to
Yep.
live for the rest of our lives, and we're going to do this and we're going to do that. But when life kicks in, you got to be ready to make that choice, not to bail out on each other. You got to be intentional, because I remember, was it 2017 that you ended up, when Bubby was playing basketball,
Yeah.
and you ended up having to be in the bed for
It was
several,
like 6 weeks.
Yeah,
Almost 2 months.
yeah,
I was literally stuck in the bed, couldn't get out. Every time I sat up, like my body would lock up. And, I did what I could do from the bed. Like, I still paid the bills, because as long as I could get to my phone, I could get to our bank account and get to whatever, Reliant or whoever we had to pay, the house note and everything. But I literally couldn't come out of the room.
yeah.
And so you would come in every day and check on me. Kennedy, when she was home for Christmas break, she came and got in the bed with me every day and had me watching all of her stuff or whatever. But you would come in the morning before you left. Even when Kennedy went back to school, when the semester changed, when she went back to school, you would come in the morning, check on me, make sure I had, if you had to go out and do an audit, you made sure I had everything I needed before you left. Even before the boys would go to school, they would come in the morning and check. And before Bubby's games, he would come home every day, or every game, he would come home and talk to me, and then y'all would leave out and head to his game or whatever. But like, you took care of me. It wasn't just I was an afterthought that was just, well, she's stuck in the bed, so I'm just gonna leave her here. You actually came in and took care of me. And I
Right.
mean, and the way you raised our kids, they didn't, I guess, see it as a bad thing. Oh, here we go, mommy's stuck in the bed. No, they actually came in and they took from you. They took your lead, and it was a terrible time for me, but it was a blessed time as well, because I still had you guys, and I still felt like I was a part of the family, an intricate, important part of the family.
And that leads me to say that you have to be intentional.
I'm choosing.
You got to be intentional, because sometimes it doesn't, you don't feel like it.
Right.
Sometimes I can even say, it's not fair.
Not-
It's not fair when you think, hey, we're just trying to do what God called us to do. We're trying to raise our family, just do our little part in society, and take care of business. It can get bad sometimes,
Right.
and it's not easy. But when you don't feel like it, you have to make yourself be intentional. You got to be intentional. You got to make the choice to be. You got to say, you know what, I'm going to be intentional, because not only when sickness comes in, but sometimes you're mad with each other.
That part.
So sometimes when you don't want to like a person, but then you got these other 10 reasons why you like the person, but there's one reason is just
Yep.
really just like last night, I was getting on her nerves because I wanted to sing it, but you know what, back to this, you got to be intentional about your choice.
Right.
And when we say intentional, that means that you got to go above and beyond what you would normally do. You got to make it to a point where that person see, you know what, they're really trying to make me understand that they're picking me.
Yeah.
It can't be subtle. Sometimes it has to be intentional.
Right.
You got to make it a point for that person to know that, no, I pick you no matter what's going on,
Right.
no matter what it seems like, it feels like, no matter what you're going through, and I can't fix, but I still pick you. And that's got to be intentional.
And the good thing about it is that in you being intentional, I felt chosen. I felt chosen every day. And like I said, I'm stuck in the bed 6 weeks and can't get out. A large part of our relationship is the fact that when our kids did something, we were there together, like always together. When
Two beans in a bucket.
Kennedy cheerleading, when she went through the whole gymnastics thing, what happened? We sitting there in this gym where it smells like nothing but Fritos. Oh my God, it stunk the whole time. But Kennedy wanted to go and do gymnastics, so there we were in gymnastics. Where I'm rushing from my school, he's rushing from work. Somebody picking up the boys, and we get to the gym, and we gonna be there. And then the boys started playing football, basketball. We were there, and then always together. Like everywhere we went, we were together.
Yeah.
And so for that to have happened, and I couldn't get to the gym during Bubby's critical senior year for basketball, it was like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. But they would come in, they would tell me about the games, they would tell me what moves he made, they would tell me what was going on. Sterling would come in and tell me what happened, in his games and stuff like that. So I felt chosen by you, which made the kids choose me as well. Because I've seen where, people, families, they pretty much, when the husband or the wife steps away, well, the kids step away from that spouse as well. But because you didn't step away, because you chose me every day, that made our kids choose me every day too.
Yeah.
And so it was a great thing. Like I felt that I was your top priority. And you were still, taking care of the house. You were still taking care of, and when I say taking care of, like you were still going to work and getting that done. But I felt chosen and top priority because you were intentional in what you were doing.
Okay, so guys, husbands, here's something that I did during that time. Here's something that, and I constantly did this before and after. No, not after, because you stopped teaching after a while. But anyway, here's something I did. I knew she liked hot chocolate. So I would go and buy her hot chocolate, and I would bring the hot chocolate to her school.
To my classroom.
To her classroom. And then here she go. I get to the school. Miss Sorrell, your husband is here. And so then I get a chance to go, and I get a chance to bring her the hot chocolate. So doing little intentional things like that makes the person made you understand that I choose you, that I picked you.
Every day.
And so guys, key, do something that makes her feel special, but do it all the time.
So you were saying how you would come to the school and bring me hot chocolate and stuff like that. So on top of that, and ladies, let me be real clear. I'm not and I used to tell my students in my classroom too, don't come in here with no Starbucks gift card when it comes time for teacher appreciation or Christmas or anything like that, because I hate Starbucks where they pay, like I don't even like the smell of coffee.
Well, Starbucks, y'all can be a sponsor.
Now I'll be super honest. I do like the thing we got you when you were sick?
Medicine ball.
I like the medicine ball. I do. I just hate the smell of coffee. I don't care who makes it. But anyway.
Now, I drink Starbucks.
Yeah, he drinks Starbucks. But I was like, I got into this whole McDonald's thing with hot chocolate because it was sweet. It wasn't bitter or anything. Like, it was super sweet. So I like super sweet hot chocolate. And McDonald's had the best hot chocolate. They don't sell it anymore. They had the best hot chocolate. And so you would go and get my hot chocolate from McDonald's. I felt so special because everybody at school would be like, Sorrell, your husband always comes up to the school and he brings you there. And then not only that, you would bring me lunch too. Because some days I had old people moment and I forget my lunch. And so you would go get me lunch, or you would go and get me a Sonic drink or something like that. So you had ways of doing little small things sometimes that would make me feel like over the moon. Like, he really cares about me. Oh my God, he's the best. And I'll be honest, you were the best, even with those small things. You did big things great, but even just the small things, you helped a lot to make me feel special.
Mm-hmm. So and thinking about this, she talked a lot about how I made her feel special, Now I want to talk about how you make me feel special.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Now, it's the many things that you do for me. So it's not just one big event, but it's the many things that are done on a daily basis. So I think one thing that's important for a man in a marriage is to feel like he's the man. That and any guy out there can attest to this. It's very important that you feel like you're the man. And I think that's what she, over the years, you've allowed me to be the man. I think in some marriages, and I think in some marriages, the wife may have a hard time with allowing the husband to be the man. But some of the things that you've done for me would be that says that you pick me. And this may be simple to others, but it means a lot to me. You handle a lot of stuff for me, and because I could be all over the place. I could be working, church, mentor, coaching.
Yeah.
I'm always on the run doing something, and through it all, you never really harass me about it, but yet you encourage me. You encourage me to walk in the calling that God has on my life, and you never stop me from doing it. You always encourage me. You talk about how I can do it better. We talk about what I do. Other things that you might do is like, now she might get 10 different boxes delivered from Amazon at the door.
Or Ann Taylor Loft, or Banana Republic.
All them folks, we look for sponsorships. All them folks, she shop with all of y'all. But she's always buying something for me. And not only does she buy something for me, but it's always something that she knows that I would like. And that makes me feel special because you took an interest in what I like. So for those of you that don't know, I'm a Kappa. K-side till the day I die, Phi Nu Pi. She'll shop at Newt Mall. She's always getting me different things that I just really like. And when I go places, all the other Newts like, Newt, where you get that from? My wife. I don't know. She just get this stuff for me. But not only that, but picking me, you handle our finances. I've not had to worry about it for years. You tried to get me to understand. We're both accountants, just being full transparency. We're both accountants, but I don't like handling my own business. But you handle that for me. You never complain about it. You try to get me to sit at the table, and I say no. This is one thing that I always tell her. This is one thing. As long as I got lights, water, and gas, and I can sit in front of the TV and do this right here. That's all I want to do. Just give me that. So you've handled that for us over the time. You never complained about it. We watch sports together, and now again, transparency here. She used sports to get to me to do some other stuff that she really wants to do. But we're going to talk about that in another segment about communication and how to open the lines of communication. But we talk about sports. We'll talk about, you start sending me emails about what went on in sports world the night before when I was working at Men's Warehouse, and I got a debriefing. Every day I got a debriefing. It's like it really, it made me feel like my wife was one of my homeboys, and I don't want not to,
right.
But it's like we got so close because you picked me, and it made me feel very special, and I'm just really appreciative because of the things that you do for me that make me feel like I'm the man of our house, and I think that's very important for those of you that might be struggling, especially a wife that might be struggling. You may want to take a step back and, allow your husband to be the man of the family, to walk in his role, to walk in his calling, and allow him to feel special in that role, and it may help to transform your marriage. Now, looking back, when we look at our marriage for the last 28 years, and talking about picking each other, we've been through a lot of things. We've been through some financial struggles.
Right.
We've been through health issues. We had 3 kids, 3 and under at one time.
Which means we had 3 in college at one time.
So we've been through a lot of things together, but one of the things that I think sticks out as being a pivotal moment in our marriage when we learned that picking each other was very important was um, I could not work because we had a storm that came into the Houston area.
Mm-hmm.
So I couldn't work and I couldn't get paid because I couldn't work. And we got to a point where our funds were very low and we got to start planning, okay, well, if this happens, well, we can't just be spending money left and right. We got to think about what would happen if this was for a prolonged period of time because, hey, when life happens, you just never know. So you got to start thinking. So it got to a point where, I don't know if you remember this or not, but we didn't have enough money for entertainment that we could just go and do things. So a couple of things here. We ended up going to a basketball game for one of our anniversaries, and went and watched with like our nephew. His name was Duke. He was playing at Pearland High School.
Right.
And we just didn't have money. It was our anniversary. We didn't have money, had kids and everything, just could not afford outside activity,
Right.
Entertainment. So we ended up going to a basketball game and we ended up getting in. I think we got
in the game free because I asked the lady that was at the front desk, I said, well, how much does it cost for 5-year-olds? And she said, oh, and she looked at all 3 of our kids. And those of y'all that know us know our kids like stair steps. So back then they did look like they were little bitty. And she was like, oh, all 3 of them get in free. I was like, look at God.
Thank you, Jesus.
Look at God. And then Duke's mom was running the door and she was like, y'all come on. We got in the whole game free and we got popcorn and everything.
So the money that we were going to spend on that mission, we were actually able to use the money for popcorn
yep.
and drinks. But the other thing is, I do remember during that span, we like to go to the movies together. We've always enjoyed going to the movies, and we couldn't go to the movies. And what we realized was that we ended up sitting on our couch, sofa, whatever you want to call it, divan. That's a word, right?
Divan, I ain't heard that one in a long time.
Whatever you want to call it. But we ended up sitting on our sofa and we watched shows together. And I believe that was a transitional moment for us when we learned that picking each other had nothing to do with how much money we had.
Right.
Picking each other didn't have anything to do with us going places. It was us being together.
Right.
And I think that was a transitional moment where our marriage really transformed.
It did.
Because we started from that point forward making each other a priority, whether it's in entertainment, whether it's just sitting around the house, whether it's going places together. We made each other a priority from that point. And it happened because of a financial crisis.
Yeah.
It showed us that we didn't need money to pick each other. And
we
I think
needed each other.
I think that was very key that we realized that we could sit down with each other, have conversation, and pick to be with each other, even though we're facing hardship. And I think that was the point that really allowed our marriage to really grow leaps and bounds from that point forward. So, in concluding this episode, love is a choice, choosing each other. There's some, you have to, if you're going to do this, it's very important that you revisit the reasons why you married your spouse.
Because if you think about it, you didn't just marry that person just because they proposed. Or you didn't just propose just because, hey, we've been together for a minute. You actually had to sit down and think about it. At least we would like to think that you sat down and thought about it as to why you proposed and why you accepted. There had to be reasons.
Right.
That person, you guys see a future together. You guys understand your beliefs align with each other. There had to be something in there, and not just one or two things. You
Right,
had to
right.
think about it.
Right.
I would like to think you actually deep
Several.
dove
Yeah,
into
yeah.
the reasons why you wanted to be with one another. If you didn't have a bishop who sat us down and said, "Hey, y'all give me some reasons as to why y'all want to get married," even if you didn't, you still had to think. I would hope think about specific things as to why you want to be with that person
For the rest
of your life.
For the rest of your life and the rest of their life. And even though you might be mad about one of the reasons,
Leaving the dishes in the sink with food still in it. I'm just saying.
For
example.
I ain't gonna bring up none of her stuff. But although you might be mad about one of the reasons, surely there are other reasons why you should still pick that person and go home to that person and remain in that marriage, because there are reasons why you married each other. And let's just think, if, let's say, things change over time. Things change. So sometimes we change. So if you feel like, the reason's just not there anymore, well, maybe you need to sit your spouse down and talk to your spouse about it. And not only that, you want to pray about it. Pray with each other,
For one another.
and pray individually. And when we say pray, don't pray that that person changes. Pray that God will help you to change, and pray that God will make you a better husband
Or a better wife.
Or a better wife. Don't pray against that person, or he needs to change, or she. No. Ask God, because remember, you're building your relationship with God. She's building her relationship with God.
Definitely.
So both of you are working together and building your relationship with God.
Right.
So no matter what you're facing in your marriage, we challenge you to pick each other on a daily basis. Be intentional about it. Every day that you wake up, be intentional about picking that person, no matter what it is, whether it's a smile. I've gotten into a habit now. When I get up in the morning, I turn around, I look at her, and I smile. Now I try to give her a hug. She don't be one to hug me all the time, but I try to smile at her to let her know. Now sometimes when I'm mad, yeah, I might not smile, but I try to do it more than I don't do it, and that shows her that I'm picking her on a daily basis.
Intentionally.
Yeah, and again, when you look at us, we've been in it for 28 years, and we're in this thing till death do us part. We don't claim to have made it because we didn't reach the pinnacle yet.
Right.
We're a work in progress, and we will make it there.
Right. Want to actually tell you about our next episode, and it's going to be more so on another vow, the in sickness and in health part. So we'll dive a little bit deeper into our journey with multiple sclerosis, and I'm not going to say we got over it, but how we're dealing with it, how we started out initially. I know for myself, where I thought it was going to be and where it actually is right now are two totally different things, but we'll look more in depth into the illness of multiple sclerosis in our marriage. So we hope you will come back and join us for the next For Lifelong Love Lessons with us.
Follow us on Instagram and TikTok
And then please go and subscribe to us on YouTube.
for Lifelong Love Lessons, and you can follow us at FOR Lifelong Love Lessons.